Today we're going to take a deep dive into episode 4 of the second season of Rings of Power. I will give a breakdown of this episode and give some commentary along the way. Just like the previous breakdowns, I will go to each different story arc. And in this episode we have 4 different story arcs. First of all, we're going to take a look at the story of Tom Bombadil and the Stranger. How do they meet and how was the first live action debut of Tom Bombadil? Next up, we're going to take a look at the connection between the Harfoots and the Stoors. Third on the list, we're going to take a walk with Elrond and Galadriel and their company on their hasty way to Eregion. And finally, last and maybe least, we're going to see what happened between Arondir, Isildur and what their involvement is with the Ents. So stay tuned until the end of the video so you don't miss anything from episode 4. So we're going to go and start off with the story of the Stranger and Tom Bombadil. After the Stranger has created this amazing sandstorm, he comes to the house of Tom Bombadil searching for his friends. And there he meets this kind of merry fellow and he says, "Hey man, your stars are right above your house. I was meant to come here. Why?" And Tom Bombadil doesn't really know, there are stars everywhere. And next up, the Stranger becomes a little bit clumsy and loses his map and ends up in a tree. A tree that has the possible staff for the Stranger to control his powers. And there he got sucked in. Just like Merry and Pippin got sucked into Old Man Willow. And to not be mistaken, this is not Old Man Willow, but this is Old Man Ironwood. Yeah, original, right? And there Tom Bombadil talks to the tree and the Stranger gets released from the tree. The Stranger is taking a bath with Tom Bombadil and he hears him singing and rhyming and he hears a woman. And I was thinking, is Goldberry there? Is she there? This would be like really amazing. I was really hoping to see her, but we haven't seen anything of her in the trailer or even in pictures or heard that there was any rumor that Goldberry is going to be joining season 2 of Rings of Power together with Tom Bombadil. But she wasn't. So far, the story of Tom Bombadil wasn't really my thing. I think he was not that merry though. Not that happy, jolly, singing and rhyming his way through the story. It felt a little bit compressed, if you know what I mean. This is not really Tom Bombadil that I was looking for. I was looking for like someone who is completely not fitting into the story. This is who Tom Bombadil should be. If you read The Lord of the Rings, it's the same thing. If you read the passage of Tom Bombadil, it's something completely different than the rest of the books. It's certainly way happier and way funnier and way merrier, if you understand what I mean. And I think that they are just like forcing Tom Bombadil into the story, and I feel like they think we're going to do good to the fans by just repeating everything that is in the books. Like with Old Man Ironwood or something like that. He was repeating the same exact lines as he was saying to Old Man Willow when Merry and Pippin were stuck in the tree. He says, "I'm eldest," and he repeats the lines that he was there before the first raindrop, before the first acorn. It felt so pushed, so forced. I'm not really quite fond of the character of Tom Bombadil portrayed here in the series, if I must be honest. The Stranger is there asking for guidance, asking him to train him to become a better wizard, to train in magic. But you gotta go for Hogwarts for that, right? Okay, he does have some kind of magic, like Fellowship of the Ring. He lets the ring disappear. He can talk to trees. There is something magical about him, that is true. It felt a bit off, if I might be honest. I was always wondering how they're going to go and bring him to Rune, because he lives near the Witherwindle in the Old Forest. I was like, how is he going to be there? He said it used to be much greener here in Rune, and it is just sand now, and I just wanted to see for myself. And I thought, yeah, I can live with that. This is something that Tom would do, in my opinion. But for the rest, I think the story of Tom, I'm not really feeling Tom Bombadil as I hoped to feel him. If you can follow what I'm saying, let me know in the comment section what you think of Tom Bombadil's debut. So next up, we're going to take a look at the story of the Harfoots and the Stoors. And once again, just like I said with the Stranger, so after the Stranger, Nori and Poppy split up after the sandstorm, they tried to escape from one of the masked men that were following them. Poppy sees the man and they both decide to scream and jump off a cliff. And I was like, huh? The Harfoots we know from season 1 are pretty good at hiding, staying away from the big people, and then they decide to scream and jump instead of hiding behind a rock or hiding in a bush nearby. Didn't that man hear them? Well, apparently not, because they have been talking to this store for like 5-10 minutes before they eventually moved on, so he mustn't have heard them. Eventually they go to the store to their place and they see that these stores have a home, have a village where they live in, because the Harfoots were always travelers, traveling from one side to the other and back and forth. What I did enjoy about this story was their connection between them. So the chief of the Stoors did learn of their master Sadok, and apparently an ancestor of Sadok was actually from the Stoors and took a group of Stoors away to seek for the Holy Land, if you might call it, the Suzats, where they can dig holes and live in grassy fields. Doesn't that sound familiar? Might have been the Shire, you might think. So I did love the connection between them, but then again, I don't get why they are getting so much screen time in this episode and we don't see anything from Anata and Celebrimbo, because they are the main part of the story this season, their collaboration, and in this video we can't see anything of them working together. And I was like, I don't get why they are so involved in the story and we don't see much more of Anata and Celebrimbo. I was really hoping to see them, or maybe the relationship evolving between Narvi and Celebrimbo. The moment that they are going to work on the Doors of Durin this season, which is really hinted at, they should have worked on their relationship more. And I'm going off topic right here, but I really believe that they're going to rush in creating the Doors of Durin, which I really would hate, to be honest. What really took me off of the story was when they were talking about the stranger, that they say, oh, he must be an elf. No, he is a real giant. So he must be a grand elf. And I was like, seriously? Grand elf? It just looks so much like Gandalf, and I think I have seen on Twitter, on X, that a lot of people have mentioned this. I completely agree with them. Come on, this is such a bad writing. I'm really pro the Stranger and the Dark Wizard being blue wizards, and I really hope they are. I'm really at this side. I really believe that they are still blue wizards. But after the end of season 1, where they give the Stranger this line like, you gotta follow your nose, a lot of people are commenting, come on, this can't be Gandalf. No, this is not true. Oh my god, he's going to be Gandalf, but Gandalf didn't go to the east, and Gandalf wasn't there in the Second Age. Oh, I would really hate it if we see Gandalf. Come on, we have 2 blue wizards right here. Can we make him one of the 2 blue wizards? And I was really like, okay, Amazon must have seen these comments. They must have known that a lot of people would hate it if he was actually Gandalf. They had 2 years to work on it, and they're going to make him blue wizards, obviously. Then there is a new wizard, the Dark Wizard. And I was like, okay, we have 2 wizards. We have 2 wizards. Okay, 2 blue wizards. But then they make him kind of like Saruman. So it was like, okay, it's more confirmed that it's going to be Gandalf the Stranger, because we have this wizard portrayed by Kieran Hines who looks a lot like Saruman, with the beard with the black in it and on the bushy eyebrows. And then you make such a comment with Grandalf. I don't get it. If they're really working on Gandalf, they're going to ruin it for everyone. And if they are indeed blue wizards, why would you hint at Gandalf so much if you know that the public is hating it? I don't get it. Seriously. Okay, so now we're going to go through the third part of this episode, and this is the story of Elrond and Galadriel and their hasty trip to Eregion. So first of all, we see them talking together, and Elrond says, Galadriel, you gotta search for some elves and we need at least 1 archer. They are kind of nitpicking on each other. This wasn't really working out because there is still this big struggle between them about the creation of the rings, about the rings itself. Should you use them or not? And this brings us back, like I said in previous breakdowns, to their mistake of creating the rings in a different order. They have done so much bad with it. If they had done it the right way, they wouldn't have to fix these mistakes and try to make the story work. I don't get it. Why would you change such a thing? They move on and we see some amazing views, just like we have seen with the Peter Jackson movies, from far away where they are walking. And I was thinking, wait a second. Why aren't they walking? They have horses. They start from Linden, from their home base. In the first episode, they have run with their horses from Eregion to Linden in one go. But when they need to be quickly in Eregion, then it's okay to go by foot, because it's much faster than horse maybe. It doesn't make sense. It was like, we need to send them to Eregion, but we need to give Celebrimbor and Anatar enough time to create all the rings and have Galadriel and Elrond arrive too late. It doesn't really make sense. They should have at least used a horse and they would have been much faster. I don't get why they didn't take a horse. And then they come to a bridge and the bridge is broken. And Galadriel says, oh yeah, it must be Sauron's fault. Okay, he's returned. He declared himself openly to you, indeed, that he is Hellbrand and that he is still alive. But it's not because something is destroyed. It's immediately Sauron's fault. It could be tons of other reasons. Maybe there's some lightning struck in. Maybe the orcs destroyed it to work for Adar. That is not Sauron's fault. That is Adar's fault. And then they start discussing that, hey, Elrond, we can't go this way because my ring tells me that we have to go the other way. Elrond says, I'm not going to listen to it because it is a creation of Sauron. So they go south and there they meet up with the Barrow-wights. This scene was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Although the Barrow-wights are lore-wise not there yet, they are created in the Third Age during the wars between Arnor and Angmar, but I was okay with it. I did enjoy to see them. The music, beautiful. I enjoyed their part. Apparently the Barrow-wights killed the two messengers that came from Linden that were sent to Eregion to tell Celebrimbor that Hellbrand was actually Sauron. So after the Barrow-wights, they come across a group of orcs, and these orcs are moving under command of Adar to Eregion. The orcs were kind of trying to kill this horse and trying to shoot it, but eventually they noticed that there were a couple of elves there, and Galadriel sacrifices herself and gives her ring to Elrond to keep it secret, keep it safe. No, just to keep it safe. First of all, one of the arrows that missed the horse actually hit one of the elves, and Galadriel uses her ring to heal this elf. And I was like, what? These rings doesn't have healing powers? Okay, they preserve the nature and preserve the world, preserve what already is. But healing? Personally, I didn't really like it, that it had healing powers. But let me know in the comment section if you like the new powers or not. There she goes fighting these orcs whilst Elrond and the other elves go away. There were like 30-40 orcs there surrounding her and they were just attacking her one by one. Why? It's like giving her a chance to survive, giving her a chance to win this. Why would you just be there at the sidelines? Okay, now it's my turn. It doesn't make sense. And there were archers there. And they didn't shoot Galadriel. They were just standing there at the sideline. I don't get it. Why are they doing such a things? They want to give Galadriel a badass fighting scene and okay. Why aren't they just go and attack her together? Then just one by one. It didn't make any sense. And there at the end, Galadriel gets captured by Adar. She is now his prisoner. And for the final part of this episode, we're going to take a look at the story of Arondir, Isildur, and what their involvement is with the Ents. So in this story, they are going to look for Theo, what really happened to them, and they believe one of these groups of people that swore allegiance to Adar actually captured Theo, and they want to know where to look. And Astrid says, oh yeah, there are a lot of camps over there. But Arondir doesn't trust it. He notices her brand new mark on her neck that is covering up this other mark that she swore allegiance to Adar. So Arondir tried to play this bossy, hey, you swore allegiance to Adar, don't fool us. You're just going to bring us to them so they can capture us or kill us. And I really thought it was kind of cool from Arondir to show who's the boss. So I did enjoy that. She was coming with them to search for Theo, but her hands were chained. And then there came in some muddy pool, and Isildur sinks in the muddy pool and almost loses it. Arondir tries to help him, but eventually falls in together with him. Then Astrid runs away and thought, yeah, maybe this is my escape. But then she returns with a huge branch to try to get them out of there. And there comes a wormy monster. If you take a look at that monster, I don't think it can like really swallow two people without chewing. It's like its mouth is just too small. So I found this a little bit weird. Then Arondir said, one of those nameless creatures that dwell deep beneath the earth, but hits here at the surface. Personally, I didn't think this worm is doing anything to the story. Down their search for Theo, they actually find the Ents. Notice that the Ents took them, and the Entwife was talking to Arondir, said, have you used an axe for wood? And he said, yes, but I didn't mean to. And I do believe that this refers to the moment that Arondir needed to cut down this tree when they were digging this great canal when they were captured by the orcs. But I was like, what kind of question is that? Of course they did. Look at their houses. Their boats. His chest plate is actually made of wood. Of course he has used it. This is just normal things to do. When I saw the Ent and the Entwife, they were too hasty. Like we know from the Ents in the books and from the Ents even in the Peter Jackson adaptation of Lord of the Rings, they aren't hasty. They are just taking a long time to say. I had a feeling that this Entwife was just rambling on. It was too hasty to me, and it didn't really fit the knowledge that we had from the Ents. And what I also found weird was, so Theo and these other people were all captured in these kind of nests on the top of trees by the Ents, and they were just like acting normal, like they have seen Ents before. I think I would have been freaking out if I was picked up by a giant tree monster. At the end, they release the people and they release Theo. Astrid's fiance returns. So that's a bummer for Isildur. And Arondir and Theo are working things out because Arondir saved Theo and he forgives him for everything. And they call Theo the Lord of Pelargir. There have been hints that Theo will become one of the Nazgul, one of the Ringwraiths. Giving him the title Lord of Pelargir goes really into this direction of him being one of the 9. So we're going to find this out in a later episode. So here we come at the end of the story. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like of episode 4 of Rings of Power Season 2. And if you have missed my breakdown of episode 3 of Rings of Power, then here is the link you need to click. So go watch this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.